Hi Chris, how are you?
Good evening, Rod. I'm okay, and it's my fault we're recording late, so apologies to everybody, but let's see what we can do.
Well, it's both late and early, I think is the way to look at this, Chris.
We're late in the day, but we're early in the day of the week that we're recording.
Not only early in the day of the week, but normally we would wait on our podcast to do it on Tuesday after the Apple event, but we're not doing that, are we?
No, that's my fault because I'm travelling and I don't think it would make a very good recording, me on my iPad on a train watching the event and then trying to record with you on the way home.
I think it's fine. I mean, I have had to do one entirely solo in the past, as I recall. So
You did actually. Well, I can't remember where I was on holiday. I was somewhere, and it was that crazy event that was at a silly time when basically Apple just announced an iMac M3. I was going to say G3, M3, and I think that was it. So there you go.
It was a Halloween one, wasn't it? That's what it was.
Yeah, it was that weird Halloween event, and I'm glad I didn't stay up for it because it was on at a silly time in the country I was in at that time.
It was a waste of time. Are we counting that as your confession then?
No, I've got a confession coming up. But we haven't touched on, it's episode 189. It's the 7th of September, and we are 2 days out from the Apple event for iPhone 17s, and the weather's okay, bit rainy.
Bit rainy. It's been biblical out there. I've seen at least two people building an ark.
You live near the coast. It's just been a bit rainy. It's been all right here. So, yeah. I think we've got thunderstorms are coming.
Fair enough. Well, they're coming your way based on what I've seen today. Shall we crack on and do some follow-up?
Straight into follow-up. So first up, Chris has a confession. Chris has installed the Tahoe public beta on his recording Mac, and let's see what happens. At least I faced up to it.
Rod's head just hit the microphone. Why would you do that? I mean, release candidate, fine. You only had to wait like 3 days?
But we're like 6 public betas in now. I think it'll be fine.
I did notice on Audio Hijack Pro that they now support in inverted commas Tahoe, so I suppose that's something.
So Audio Hijack said, look, it pretty much is all fine. So I thought, let's just get on with it. And that's what I've done. So I am now on the 26th branch of everything Apple do, whether it's my Mac or my phone or my iPad or my TVs. And life's okay. Everything's just a bit rounded, though. That's what I will say. I think they've gone too far with the rounded corners. My content should have less rounded corners and more room to show me the content, please. But other than that, everything seems all right.
I run it on one Mac. I'm not putting it on my phone till, well, I will put the release candidate on, but I'm not going before that because I want them to fix all the battery issues. I mean, I am travelling to Barcelona in 2 weeks' time, and given the issues I had when I went to Finland, it is making me a bit twitchy.
Yeah, I can understand that. This is on a Mac plugged into the wall, so there is no battery, so I'm good there. But it seems all right. I don't think they've broken much underpinning. I think what they've broken is usability, but the actual underpinnings I don't seem to have touched.
I mean, I will genuinely say, switching from the beta on one Mac back to this one, the recording Mac, I don't notice an awful lot of difference. I mean, yes, the corners are more rounded, but it's not like a step change in visuals for me particularly.
No, I think it's, especially on the Mac, I think it's definitely more evolutionary, and everything's not bouncing around like it is on your phone or your iPad.
Anyway, let's save a little bit of that for later, I think,
sure.
Shall we? Let's fire on and do a little bit more follow-up. And I guess the biggest story in the news this week, if I can bring it up, has been the decision on Google's antitrust ruling, which we were all expecting to be quite big things. Out of this came how much they were paying Apple and Firefox and others to maintain sort of sponsorship for them. And I think what we were all expecting was that they were going to be forced to spin off Chrome or spin off Android. I mean, that was the expectation, right?
Yeah, and this would be like the first giant tech to actually have, not choose themselves to spin something off or sell it or break it up. And we didn't get any of that, did we? I think is what we're going to say. Google's just going to carry on as it was.
I mean, it's not even a slapped wrist as far as I can see. This is nothing. Basically, the judge who'd ruled that they were a monopoly has gone on to say, yeah, well, you can share some of your search secrets, which frankly is yesterday's news anyway in the world of AI.
Yeah, they're basically nothing. Like, it feels like a massive brown paper bag has changed hands here, full of money, because just nothing's happened. It's just really bizarre in that they found them guilty, they needed to break it up, and then they've ruled, just carry on as you were, but maybe just share a little bit of data with some other tech companies and you'll be fine. Just carry on with your monopoly.
I got to think, handing over all that money to the US government for whatever reason has worked out really well for Google.
It's just not right though, is it? Sorry, just I don't know. It just feels really dirty.
I mean, there is a quote here from the Economic Liberties Project, which is a United States organisation. Similarly, you don't find Google liable for monopolisation and then write a remedy that lets it protect its monopoly. This feckless remedy to the most storied case of monopolisation of the past century is a complete and utter failure of his duty and must be appealed. I find it really hard to argue with a single thing in that.
I would completely agree with you. Just while we're on this, though, I must find it slightly amusing that Google are sponsoring all the adverts on this article. I don't know how they've managed to do that and how the registry have allowed them to do that, but it's just insane, isn't it?
Well, I mean, same as it ever was, I guess. Microsoft didn't get broken up back in the day, so Google's not, and I suspect when the Apple, antitrust stuff comes to market, exactly the same thing will happen. It's not even a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there.
Yeah. Something else that isn't even a slap on the wrist is following the post office scandal in the United Kingdom. Fujitsu said that they were going to stop competing for UK public service things. So the whole Horizon scandal that happened, afterwards they said, no, we're never going to do this again. Toby Jones got his BAFTA, I think he got for it. Fujitsu said they weren't going to bid, and I think about 2 weeks afterwards we said they'd bid for something in Northern Ireland, right?
Yeah, it's really bonkers, isn't it? And the Horizon scandal, for those listening, is the post office scandal that's happened here, where basically Fujitsu put in a system for the post office that involved a lot of people going to court or losing money because it couldn't add up. And this is, again, just shocking behaviour, isn't it? It's very short memories.
I think the story of this podcast is going to be money talks and everything else walks.
It does feel like we've gone back a little bit in that, yeah, money just greases the wheels. We're just greasing people's palms to get what we want. It's just crazy.
It's absolutely mental. It makes no sense to me at all. And I mean, there's been a letter from a Liberal Democrat peer, Lord Clement Jones, and 76 parliamentarians who've written an open letter to the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom about demanding urgent action for Fujitsu's continued eligibility for government contracts. They said they were going to walk away, and yet, all through this article, as the Register says, there was the story we were talking about before. Fujitsu won a £125 million contract to build Northern Ireland's new land registry system. That's not walking away, Fujitsu.
How does the land registry system cost £125 million? Like, why are we spending so much money on these things?
None of this makes any sense to me. In the same way that continually awarding Palantir, NHS contracts make sense. I think they just have a preferred supplier and they just get on and do it.
Is it just because it's easy? Because they're set up on the system and they can just send them a purchase order?
Yeah, I guess, they're reliable, I guess. It might not be exactly what we're expecting, and it may defraud and send people to jail, but,
Mental.
Absolutely mental. I apologise if anybody can hear my dog barking outside. I can hear her through my microphone.
Joy of Google Meet means I can't hear anything, but I know it'll be in the recording because obviously that's separate.
Yeah, well, the same way you get airplanes, you get the occasional dog bark from me. So, it's all fun. I mean, if you turn this into a drinking game, you could probably get quite drunk by our background sound effects leaching in.
I don't mind a little bit of it. Sometimes when you get people in America, in cities, you get the sirens in the background and a bit of that. It's all right. We've all got lives going on.
We do. Moving on to somebody else that's got something going on, and Philips have got something going on. So we've talked before actually, about this potential new update to the Philips Hue system of lighting, where they'd be able to sense walking into rooms and things like that. They've now released this. It came out at the big trade show that was in Barcelona, IFA, where Samsung announced a bunch of new phones and stuff as well. But you can now purchase a Philips Hue Bridge Pro, which will work with your existing light bulbs, and it can sense when you walk into a room, presumably because you're blocking the signal between the bulb and the Hue transmitter. I don't know the exact ins and outs of it, but this is really cool.
It's quite cool. And I think I've said it before, I quite admire the Philips stuff, but I've never, for whatever reason, just never gone for it. I still don't know why, but I think it's quite cool.
I'm a big fan. I must have had Philips Hue bulbs for, it's in excess of 10 years at this point.
You were definitely an early adopter.
It's one of the first smart home things I've built. Over my shoulder, which is off camera, is where the actual Hue Bridge is, and there's about, 20 odd light bulbs in this house that are powered by it. I've been a big fan. It's been very stable. It's funny. It's one of the few things on my home network that shows up as a 100 meg connection, not gigabit or above connection, so I can pick it out very easily in my sort of networking panel. The other thing I found interesting that I wasn't expecting is they've added Sonos voice control to lighting as well. So I'll be able to shout at my speakers. So it's not Siri or Google Home or any of the other ones. You can actually just speak directly to Sonos's voice assistant to turn them on and off.
Seems quite specific, doesn't it? Do you reckon they realise that people who buy Philips Hue also buy Sonos? I don't know. Is there on the Venn diagram, is there a massive overlap?
Well, I mean, I'm 100% right in the sweet spot of that Venn diagram, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. You're there, and I'm completely not there. So maybe they know something we don't.
Anyway, this is cool. I'm a big fan of Hue products. I'm trying to remember the name of the other light strip I bought recently that I bought it for Christmas last year. I did talk about it on the show, and it's left me, but it's sort of the next big competitor behind Hue, and it's not quite as solid as the Hue product has been for its integration with Apple Home. You still need to go and use its app to change the colors on the thing. The timer works perfectly well with Apple Home, but you don't have it's got an option sort of pulse color, so you can say click and it'll turn it into Christmas and it'll go red, white and green lights or something like that. If you just leave it on the timer, it just comes on and off at the last sort of luminance setting on it. So for me, Hue stuff has been a bit more solid. All can be pricey.
Yeah, I think that is the thing, but sometimes you do get what you pay for.
Isn't that a fact? Speaking of getting what you pay for, the word of the week for us several months ago was inshitification. I might bleep that. I'll see how I feel. We haven't been given any sort of warnings for swearing yet. Anyway, as coined by Cory Doctorow, ex of the Electronic Frontier Foundation. Anyway, it's made its way into the dictionary. So Merriam-Webster now has it as an actual official term in their dictionary.
Wow, okay. I guess I hadn't really thought about it, but wow, it's in the dictionary. It kind of makes sense. I've heard it used a lot more in the last 18 months, I guess.
Yeah. So Cory himself tooted about it on Mastodon. It's a noun. It's when a digital platform is made worse for its users in order to increase profits, and there it is. And there was he didn't actually include the link here, but I went off and found it in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, so maybe it'll be in the Oxford English next year.
Yeah, it's got a good chance, hasn't it?
It does seem like it. So this is cool, and it's an informal use to criticize the degradation in the quality and experience of online platforms over time due to an increase of advertisements, costs, or features. It can also refer more generally to any state of deterioration, especially in politics or society. Similar forms include inshitify and inshitified.
Well, I like the examples they've given. I think it's good.
I think it's good, and it's a very good word and very of our time, I think.
Yeah, I think that is fair.
Speaking of our time, we talked on the podcast, I think about 6 weeks ago now, maybe a little bit longer, about Synology on their next generation of products, particularly on their Plus line products, locking down the hard drives on them, so you'd only be able to buy hard drives directly from Synology. And I think you and I both agreed this was a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this, I must confess. I get it could be hard for them when they've had issues with different drives. I don't think they should lock in. I think they should recommend and sell a premium for those people that want to ensure that premium support works, maybe. But yeah, I'm not crazy on this.
Yeah, it's buyer beware, I think. That I quite often buy second-hand reconditioned drives or ex-enterprise drives for my NASs that have got tens of thousands of hours on them. And the occasional one has failed within a week, but most of them, you just slam them in there and they just keep on going. I mean, the point of having a RAID is it should be somewhat redundant. It should be fault-tolerant of at least one drive going, possibly more depending on the setup you've got. So Synology is saying that you have to buy their certified drives. A is lock-in, it's like you've got to buy the blades and the Razer now, which very few NAS manufacturers sort of require you to do. And more than that, I think it could actively harm people who want backups, because you've got to buy a Synology branded drive to replace one or two that's just failed, and they've got a bit of a run on them at that point. Unless you've had the foresight to buy some in advance and you've got them kicking around, you could be kind of up the creek there.
Yeah, I don't like any of this, but I do really like Synology. I've got a very old Synology unit. It's about 10 years old. It's doing pretty well. I'm in no rush to swap it out because I use it just really for a dumb unit. I know I could do a lot more with my Synology, but the one I have is so old now, it's probably too slow. But I'm a bit disappointed because Synology were a company I held in quite high esteem.
Yeah, I'd have always recommended as well. Anyway, I was just about to say it's got worse. It now looks like they're limiting the number of concurrent connections you can make to your Synology too. So that's really appalling.
Why is that?
Good question.
Oh, okay. Why are they doing that? Why would you take a brand and ruin your brand?
It's a great way of ruining your brand, and particularly as you've got Unify coming to market with the UNAS, you've got all the Chinese companies that are coming to market with their off-the-shelf things. this is absolutely the worst timing. And if you're even one of the more established players, like QNAP was always seen to be the alternative to Synology, QNAP could absolutely steal a march in Synology for this by just providing a turnkey thing that'll take any drives that doesn't have any limits on it, the same way they always used to.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity for somebody to come in and fill the gap that Synology is now creating.
I've been very happy with my UNAS Pro. It's a good price for a 7 drive bay machine. I mean, I think it was 500 quid for a 7 drive bay machine.
Yeah, that's all right.
And all I want it to do is to be able to mount shares, quickly and share stuff around, and it does that flawlessly every single time. So why would I drop 500 quid on a Synology machine that's going to limit like this?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
Yeah,
I just think it's a dumb move, and it would make me question whether I'd buy another Synology if mine were to go pop.
I just wouldn't. All my Synology for now is for backing up the UNAS, and frankly, if it died, I'd just buy one big hard drive and attach it to a computer somewhere.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Somebody else that sees it is Tesco. Tesco have been a big supplier, a big user of VMware's product, and we all know what that means. Basically, that they've jacked up the licensing and nobody can afford them anymore. I know we've seen it in my workplace. Tesco are obviously seeing it here as well. They're now suing VMware for £100 million worth of damages. And in fact, Tesco are warning that the increases in licensing for their VMware stack could actually endanger British food delivery.
Okay.
I mean, it's a hell of a claim. And for those who aren't British, Tesco is a very large supermarket in the UK. It's
huge.
It's probably the biggest supermarket chain in the UK, and certainly in the top 3. Tesco, Sainsbury's, and Asda are probably the top 3 supermarkets in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, I'd concur with that. Well, I don't know now because you get Lidl and Aldi popping up, but no, Tesco's are huge. Always have been. Well, for the last 30 years probably. Yeah, okay. This feels a bit not great. I mean, the writing's been on the wall for a while, so I'm surprised they're not moving off of VMware onto something else. But it's hard to do that, especially for a big organisation. It takes time to migrate without having an outage of service.
What's our usual phrase, Chris? The cost of getting out?
It is. It's the cost of getting out. And it takes time, and you probably haven't got the skills. You've got to retrain your staff, your support team. So it can't be done overnight. And maybe VMware knew this. Obviously, VMware are now owned by Broadcom. Do you think Broadcom just want people to leave? Are they trying to close it down? I don't know.
I think they just want to make lots of money. I mean, VMware actually posted a stock increase. They had good first quarter profits or third quarter profits, whatever we're in now. I saw in the news a couple of weeks back. So this strategy is working because they're really holding some companies' fingers to the fire on this. As you say, if it's hard to change your whole enterprise over or something else, then obviously you're just going to have to pay the bill. However, I think their competitors have offered quite a lot of compelling easy ways to switch. Veeam, Nutanix, Proxmox, others have got an ability to stream from one to another. Obviously, you need a little bit of free hardware in order to do that. You can't just take a production server that's running a bunch of VMs and just flip it over to something else overnight.
And
so
hope
it's not
for the best.
It's not a straightforward thing. You've got to trial it with some of your lower impact servers first, see how it goes, gradually move it, transition. So they've got people over a barrel for a while, and that's obviously working out quite well for them.
Yeah, I think you're right. They have, but I don't know. It feels like there might be some short-term gains, but long-term, I don't think it's going to end well.
I think, as with Synology, they've really made a mistake in the market here because there's too many good alternatives these days.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Not everybody's Microsoft and can get away with this kind of behavior.
Agreed.
Shall we do some news?
Let's do the news.
So, in surprising, maybe to nobody news, Atlassian, the company that owns all manner of things, particularly Jira, is what they're best known for, I think. They sort of do a lot of behind-the-scenes enterprise stuff. In the back of my head, I feel like they own Slack as well. That might be Salesforce. I might be getting that wrong.
I think it's Salesforce.
Yeah. Atlassian own lots of things, though. We use it for our help desk software in the office. So I know that they own a lot of this kind of stuff. Anyway, they've bought the browser company, which previously made the browser Arc. I recommended Arc on the podcast as being an interesting Mac first browser that did some useful and novel things. I stopped using them when they put a lot of AI into it, as did lots of other people, because then they launched the Dia browser, which was entirely AI focused. And then Atlassian has come and scooped them up for the princely sum of $610 million.
Do you think that's why they did AI, was to get sold? We're doing an AI browser because it will be a massive multiplier on our valuation.
Totally. Why wouldn't you? You take a browser, bit of Chrome, slap some other stuff onto it, and off you go. And somebody comes in and invests a load of money in you, takes over your company. It's very Web 2.0.
Oh, it's just that's $610 million. That's a lot of money.
I mean, it's not into the billions, so it's not madly overpriced, but it's literally Chrome with a bit of AI stuck on it.
Maybe they've seen something in it. Excuse me. Maybe they've seen something in it that we haven't seen, but that's insane to me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. But the CEO and the CTO are staying on, so it looks like it's quite an amicable deal. I'm sure they've been paid a lot of money and they'll have an earn out. But wow.
Yeah, it's an awful lot of money. And just to not correct myself, but add to what I said, Atlassian also owned Trello, which is sort of a Kanban planning platform. I think Yahoo owned Trello for a little bit, actually. So there's another one bit the dust.
Yahoo kind of owned everything and seemed to fumble everything at the same time. Are Yahoo still going?
I think it's still a thing. I'm not going to search for it now because I'm sure it'll be chock full of ads. But yeah, I think there's still a thing. They changed their email, I remember, from yahoo.com to ymail in an effort to keep up with someone. I can't think who.
Oh, wow. I don't really know. I've gone to Yahoo's homepage. I'm just going to close it. It looks awful.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
How do they take such a good brand and squander it?
It's one of the great mysteries of our time, because when you've got a dominant player like Google, sometimes you just can't stand up to
Maybe
that.
they should break Google up.
Oh, that's a good idea. Somebody should look into that.
Oh, wait a minute.
Turning to things that I don't think anybody actually needs, there's news in The Verge this week, also from the IFA show, as we talked about previously, that Lenovo have made a smart stand that uses AI to turn your laptop to face you when you're using it.
I think I'd give that about half an hour before I threw it in the bin.
Who needs this product? Seriously. I mean, is it meant to track you around the room when you walk? Is that what they're thinking?
And that works really well for us, doesn't it?
Well, it doesn't work well on my camera, and it's got some sort of alleged AI built into it. But I have a laptop stand, both at work and at home. I put my laptop on it. It faces me. That's it. I don't need it to track me around the room. What logic is there? And presumably you'll have 2 or 3 cables coming out of this for your USB hub and connection to your monitor, or certainly power. What's going to happen with all the cables?
About 6 months from now, we'll have this has been part. But you can do hand gestures whilst wearing Lenovo's AI Ring to control it. What? I'm sorry. What a rubbish product. Like, I just don't understand the point of this. It looks ugly. It's just rubbish. It's like, this is just no good use to anybody. This is ridiculous.
This is technology for technology's sake. This is not a valid product that anybody's going to actually rush out and get.
Do you think they started developing this because they heard Apple were doing something with robotics and thought, oh, we can do that too? And this is what they've come up with.
I don't understand. Lenovo makes some really interesting products. They've got foldable displays. They've got slide-out things. They've obviously got the ThinkPad brand, which is probably the second best-known laptop brand of all time behind, PowerBooks. Bizarre.
Yeah, and Lenovo's carried on IBM's, like you say, the Think brand, and they've got Think screens and they've got Think laptops. I think they've done a good job with that, but this is stupid.
Yeah, just say it as it is, Chris.
But how did anybody think this was a good idea, let alone actually invest it, make it, and then release it? Like, at some point, did somebody not just go, this is stupid?
You would have hoped so. But then all sorts of technology gets through that you think, Rabbit R1s, that pin thing, humane pin. Lots of things make it through. I think they said they were going to try and reinvent it as a phone or something, didn't they?
HP bought them up yet because HP just love to buy. No, that was humane.
That was it.
But what happened to Rabbit? Like, I don't know.
I think they're still around. It doesn't matter. I mean, we'll leave that for real-time follow-up for later.
Yep.
Instead, in news that's also potentially surprising to nobody, UK government trial of Copilot has found no clear productivity boost, and this amuses me no end. I bet in most corporations productivity suck, as you spend all your time trying to engineer the quote to give you the exact answer you want, rather than getting on and doing the thing.
I messaged you the other night because my wife was trying to make some posters for her school based upon their values, and she fed it the values with the tagline to go next to the value, and the amount of times the AI bot generating the poster got the spellings wrong, even though we'd given it the spellings and the exact type that we wanted. She was getting so frustrated with it that she just resorted to making them herself with it. And it was a bit sad, really, because it should have been really good at this. Make me a poster with some images for young children with this word and this tagline, and it couldn't spell honesty right because it wouldn't even read the word we gave it, let alone know it had a dictionary that it could look up the correct spelling. So it was incredibly hard to watch my wife try and use this. But I wanted her to do it on her own without me getting involved, because I thought, well, it'd be good to see actually how the tool works and how she interacts with it rather than me doing it in a computery sort of way. But yeah, her frustration was not pretty.
Yeah, I think that's probably the story of most people, is that if it genuinely, I think if it doesn't get it right first try, you should give up a lot of the time. There's no point in engineering the prompt.
But they do say, though, that you should follow the conversation and tweak and tweak until you get to what you want. But I've used AI more in the last 6 months than ever, and I've got some really good pointers out of it. I've got some really good code out of it. I've quite enjoyed it, but I think I'm using it in quite a constrained way.
So my experience, I tried the Google Nano Banana thing. I sent you some modified screenshots in the week of what it done, and they were quite fun. I asked it to make me James Bond. I asked it to make me a Simpsons character and stuff like that, and it did an okay job. So I thought I'll give it something real to do. So we hosted an event about 3 weeks ago where there were a bunch of people in a photograph who'd visited the organisation, and I'd forgotten to put a banner behind us explaining what it was that we were doing. So you've got the advertising basically for your lab. So I said, can you put this poster in the background of the picture? And it did. It did a good job putting the poster in the background of the picture behind all these people. It changed everybody's faces. Everybody's faces to somebody else. Not swapped them around between them. It made up faces and put them into the picture in places of everybody who was there.
Did you not say, no, I don't want you to touch anybody's face?
Well, I didn't think I had to. I just said, insert this banner into the background. That's all I wanted to do.
Which was kind of the same problem my wife had. Here's the text I want you to do something with it, and yet it managed to get it wrong.
Yeah, I think they're not all they're cracked up to be, these LLMs,
Strong concur.
I think something else we can both agree on is the vaccinations are pretty good for public health.
Yeah, no, I'm there. I'm with you. I have vaccinations when I have to get them, and my children do. So, yeah, I'm there.
And I think if you're a vaccine skeptic, if you're following the evidence and all the rest of it, no matter what we say is going to convince you to do otherwise. However, the history of public health in schools has been diseases have got less. There is less TB, whooping cough, polio, pick your poison out there than there ever was before. But Florida appears to want to go against that and is stopping all vaccination requirements statewide in schools. So that is flu, pertussis, which is whooping cough, diphtheria, measles, tetanus, RSV, and polio.
Okay.
Polio used to kill people quite regularly. There was in the 1950s there was a bunch of people on iron lungs, as they were, because of the polio outbreak that happened in the 1950s. A lot of modern anesthesia comes from doctors having to manually breathe for patients with bags. It's just incredible to me that somebody could think this was a qualified doctor could think this was a reasonable thing to do. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me.
What you do in America, it's bad for the world. If these diseases mutate without vaccines, it's bad for everybody. I don't understand this mindset.
I'm with you on this. I thought we'd gone past this a long time ago, but clearly not.
I read a story this week, and it was so ridiculous I couldn't put it in, about how some American families are not wanting to give vaccinations to their pets in case their pets get autism.
Okay.
You kept your face together very well there, I thought.
I don't know what I meant to say.
Let's talk about some tech instead.
Yeah,
Tell us about the new Eero Signal.
I don't know a lot about it, but my understanding is that because you can't seem to get it here in the UK. Normally, Amazon Eero quite good at releasing products in the UK, but my understanding of this is basically a 5G dongle for your Eero network, so that if your broadband drops out, you can then back up onto cellular. And I'm not surprised this has come, because in the settings, I've got a setting at home for my Eero network that says, keep my internet going if broadband fails. I've mangled the words, but you get the idea. And I was like, but there's nothing for it to fail over to, like if there's no broadband, I've got nothing else. I haven't got a secondary line or anything like that. So I'm not surprised this product's now come, because it feels like the UI had the groundworks for this. To be fair to Amazon Eero, they've really built out their whole Eero line. They've done a bit of a Tim Cook and left some old stuff around, in my opinion, for too long. But the Eero 7 lineup's looking pretty good. You've got the regular 7, you've got the Pro, you've got the Max, and now you've got the Signal product. So it looks kind of cool. I've never really been in a world where if the home internet fails, I need a backup, because probably like you in your house, everybody's got something else that's cellular. And, if my wife or me or my kids really need to get on the computer that doesn't have cellular, you can hotspot something. We could jerry-rig something to make it work so that the house could function if there was an important deadline on homework or work to be done. So I don't know. It feels to me like there's a limited market for this. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's failover. I mean, if it's that mission critical for you to always have internet, get a second provider from somewhere else, from another line. Get a BT line and a Virgin Media line or something like that. Or if you're not the right kind of area, get Starlink. I don't like to recommend.
I think that's it, really, isn't it? But that's what I would do. I never find cellular to be that good.
I mean, as an absolute last case scenario, it kind of makes sense. This seems like quite an expensive product to me as well. It's $99 per year, which includes 10 gigabits of data. I mean, fine.
Got to drive that service revenue, though.
It's just, I'm not sure about it. I mean, fair enough. It does fill a gap, presumably, for somebody. If you're a business, maybe this makes sense to you. But again, I think you want to stick a Starlink dish on the roof and go with that and pay your $85 a year for that.
I would sadly concur with you on that. But I will give a thumbs up to Eero. I'm glad they're doing stuff, and the products. Amazon, to be fair, have been a great custodian of that product and that brand.
And I just want to say, well done to the advertising, because we now get a Tesco advert at the top of this.
Because we've seen a Tesco advert. Because there's some cookie drop somewhere or something's happening.
Just amazing. Car Corner?
Yeah, why not? I like a bit of Car Corner.
Well, I'm going to start with a motorbike.
You can't call it Car Corner and then have a motorbike. You need to call it Automobile Corner.
Well, I'm not changing the name or the album art for it, because it's done now.
Vehicular Corner.
Automotive. The Wheels Corner.
Wheels.
Whatever. I just think it's quite good. So one of the main problems with electric motorbikes up till now has been all the same problems that face cars. The weight, the power, the charging are all the things that affect it. And on a motorcycle, you can't bang another ton of weight on them because they depend on the handling as much as anything else. And where you put the weight in a motorbike is really important. It's funny, I was listening to an interview with an ex-World Superbike champion, Carl Fogarty, who was a 4 times World Superbike champion. Probably one of the few motorcyclist people in the UK I've heard of. He was British. And he was saying he struggled with his bike once upon a time because they made the tank bigger at the top to fit in more fuel to finish the races because it was more powerful. And he couldn't work out what changed on the bike. He couldn't move around anymore. This is a 4-time World Superbike champion, and he couldn't, that difference in weight distribution of the bike makes a difference. Anyway, I'm getting derailed. Honda, one of the biggest manufacturers of motorcycles, have announced that they're probably going to be releasing this variant of their e-motorcycle. It's going to use a CCS charger, the same as cars do, so that's quite good. We're getting standardization between bikes and cars.
Seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it? It's got to use what a car uses.
It's got to use what, but it doesn't have to make a motorbike ugly, having a big blooming battery stuck in the bottom of the frame like that.
It looks like somebody's plugged a desktop computer in at the bottom. That's what it makes me think when I see it. It's not a beautiful shape, is it? Surely motorbikes would be good for pop-out batteries, you'd have thought.
But the problem with pop-out batteries is the same as the bicycle world, that somebody else will pop them out for you and then you're stuck.
Right, okay.
You need security mechanisms to do so.
But it just seems like you could have one at home charging, one on your bike, and then swap them out or something. I don't know. But does that actually solve the problem? Ones if you're away from home, yada, yada, yada.
Exactly. And I think with the prevalence of chargers now, I've got no problem with bikes having this. It's just makes them look a bit ugly. I mean, we need better battery technology is what we need. The same as for cars.
And everybody has devices that you wish had longer battery, apart from probably your MacBook.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Anyway, I think this is quite good that they've adopted the same standard as cars. You're going to get a real-world 100-kilometer range on one of these things. If you watch Long Way Up, which was Ewan McGregor and Charlie Berman riding from Ushuaia up to back to California, they could only do slow trickle charging, and that was a major problem for them. I mean, the infrastructure wouldn't have been there for CCS, but it's good to know that the manufacturers are beginning to move along the same path, and that sort of standardization is only good for an industry.
Yeah, completely agree, and we need battery tech to move forwards.
We do. Somebody else that needs to move forwards is Jaguar Land Rover. Do you want to tell us a bit about this?
Yeah, JLR, as they're known here in the UK, so Jaguar Land Rover had a massive cyber attack, and they actually had to halt production, and they were trying to contact staff basically to tell them, don't worry about coming into work today, because even if you turn up, you can't do anything. Like, not a good look, is it? And the company's had to shut down all of its IT systems, which is just unreal, isn't it? For a company, I get a company, and obviously working corporate IT, I get somebody could get hit with a cyber attack, and I fully understand it. But for it to take out absolutely everything, you'd have thought there'd be mechanisms in place to stop that, and ring fencing your manufacturing systems against other parts of what you've got on your network. And I'm doing network in inverted commas because obviously it's very complicated. I really feel for the IT team there, because whilst they may have designed good things, they may not have had the budget or the sign-off to do what they need. You just don't know the mechanics of all of it. Or maybe this is just some crazy scenario that the hackers have done to get through it. But wow, what a hack.
I mean, it's a big deal when ITV News report on it, isn't it? This isn't one of our weird sort of edge case tech press things. This is actually ITV themselves presenting on this.
But how many more hacks is it going to take until people really take it seriously? Because in the UK, just us alone, we've had Marks and Spencers. We had the Co-op earlier, 2 big shops, high street shops, literally known everywhere in the UK. JLR, known everywhere in the UK, and abroad, have had these massive outages and issues, and especially bringing it back online is also a problem. It's not just the outage, it's then the recovery time. It's unreal. It just absolutely blows my mind.
It's all right. Jaguar don't actually make any cars at the moment, do they? So there was no harm done there.
That's because they got Land Rover paying the bills, but Land Rover can't pay the bills if it's not operational. But you can't order parts, book shipments, exports. You can't register new vehicles. You just can't do anything. And it's happened at a time when here in the UK, the brand new number plates just come out. It happens every 6 months. You get a new format of number plates. So people wanting to buy their new Discovery with a 75 plate number plate can't do it. It's just unreal to me.
I mean, to be fair, people with Land Rovers are probably used to being broken down at the side of the road anyway, whether the parts or not. So,
yeah, Land Rovers do not have a good reliability rating, but people buy them and they spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on them.
I say this as a man who's had 3 Land Rovers in the past, and with the greatest of affection for the brand, they're not very reliable.
No, quite. And they actually depreciate. Like, you can pick up some good Range Rovers for not crazy money. It's insane.
But you shouldn't. Let's talk about a car brand that I think is actually beginning to do interesting things again. I've had problems with Audi recently because the styling of all their cars looks the same to me. Q3, 5, 7, 8, whatever else they've got.
Well, even just the regular cars have kind of all become amorphous blobs.
That's what I was going to say, is that you've got the 4-wheel drivey looking ones, which just get bigger, and then you've got the normal saloon car looking ones, which just get longer.
Yep.
And
you've got the 4-wheel drive ones that start looking more like cars. They've kind of morphed everything into one another. I think they've looked at Mercedes and gone, we need more models, and they've done a lot of that.
Anyway, they're very, very nondescript, uninteresting cars. That I think Seat, out of the whole Audi Volkswagen group, probably make the most interesting
looking car. It's no longer
car.
called Seat, though, is it? It's Cupra now.
No, that's the posh brand. You can still buy Seats.
You can still buy Seats? Oh, I don't
know.
I see so few of them here that I just assumed it was... I just see Cupras everywhere because I think everybody maybe looks at Seat and go, I'll get the Cupra, shall I?
So in the same way that Lexus is Toyota's posh brand, Cupra is Seat's posh brand.
And is this like DS and Citroen?
Citroen, yeah. Same sort of thing.
Okay.
So, I mean, so that's a slightly off-tangent thing, but I think Seat or Cupra make far more interesting looking cars than Volkswagen, than Skoda. Well, to be fair, Skoda looks at least different, but certainly Audi. However, the TT was always a good looking car of its time, and there's now a Concept C, which is a reimagined Audi TT for the next generation. And I actually think, there's hints of sort of that Chrysler thing with the weird sort of back on it that was around for a few years ago, but I actually think it's a really interesting looking car.
Looks a bit Polestar-esque from the back, just because it's got no rear window. I think it looks cool. I think Audi's needed a bit of a design reboot, because I've just bought an 11-year Audi, I think, as I've shared with you, just a little run around. And I quite like it, actually. I'm impressed with it, but I've been put off their styling for a while. I don't know why. I don't know, I didn't do it, but this looks kind of interesting, and it's interesting they're doing it now because BMW have just announced their new iX3 with their new class design language, which I actually quite like. I like where BMW are going with it. So I wonder whether this is Audi in response to what Beamer are doing.
It's the least gruesome BMW I've seen in a while. I've watched a bit of stuff about the Neue Class thing as well, and I agree. It's the first one in a long time I think the grille looks normal on.
I think, and if you look at some of the more recent cars, they've really dialed the grills back. Because I think they've actually listened to the feedback of, oh yeah, maybe we did miss it a little bit. And I don't really get why grills have got bigger in cars at a time when they actually need smaller grills because half of them are electric.
Yeah, but I think BMW still make the worst looking car. Is it the 8 Series that's with the EV that's got the massive... That is the worst looking car on British roads.
I like the back of it, but I concur the front is... It's a face only a mother could love.
Well, not even a mother could love. I think it would be like the Spartans. It would be like the Spartans. You know the way the Spartans would take their children and dump them. I'm afraid BMW have kind of done that. They sort of, in an embarrassed way, shoved it out the door. Anyway, that's off topic. This Type C is interesting. Apparently, it's going to come with a V16 version as well. That sounds like a lot of engine.
Ooh, that does sound like a lot of engine. Now, I'm interested to see it. And like I say, I bought an Audi, which I never thought I'd buy. And I'm curious to see where they're going to go because there's a lot of Audis I wouldn't buy. I have popped a link to an iX3 just in the show notes because I think this is the best thing BMW made in a long time. Oh, you brought up the 7 Series. Look at it.
We can't let it go. It's the worst. It's such an ugly car.
I don't know what's worse. Is it the stupid skinny lights or the massive grille or all of it just mushed together? The side's quite nice. The back is very nice. The front, I don't know why the front's just hideous.
And the whole grille lights up as well. The kidney grille lights up as it comes towards you.
They're doing that on all of them now.
So I agree with you. I think the iX3 actually looks... There's definitely shades of the car Marco Arment has. It's the iX, isn't it? It was the first, yeah. On the side of it, but the front actually looks okay for the first time in a long time.
And they're doing some cool stuff inside. Like we've reported on it before. Like underneath the windscreen, there will be a massive panoramic screen that's got your speedo and other information on it, and then you've got an entertainment screen and stuff. I think they're doing some cool stuff, and their tech in the car is pretty cool.
As long as they don't charge you a monthly subscription.
I've bought a 20-year-old car and an 11-year-old car. I'm not sure new cars are for me right now.
Media.
Let's do it.
Short story, hopefully. Apparently, Gavin and Stacey, writing duo at least, have signed up to do a new Apple TV Plus series. So this is good news. It's James Corden and Ruth Jones, who are the writers of Gavin and Stacey, a well-loved show in the UK.
100%.
Hopefully. A whole thing filmed in Wales, who knew? I've signed up to do another one. American fans will be well aware of James Corden from his time on talk shows and all the rest of it. And I think that one of the very first Apple TV shows was actually comedians in cars singing. What was it called? Whatever it was called.
I don't know, but it was awful.
Carpool Karaoke.
Carpool Karaoke, jeez. Yeah, that was shocking. I think this is good news. I hope they do something different, but equally really well done and thought-provoking and really hit home. Gavin and Stacey was amazing, and you can quote Gavin and Stacey to people here in the UK and people know it. So yeah, hopefully it'll be good.
Hopefully it'll be good. Something that was less good is continuing on my Bond film Odyssey. I've got as far as Octopussy, possibly the worst named Bond film. I might change my opinion on that, but in the current run of films that I'm watching, Octopussy is not a great name.
I agree. It's not a great name. It hasn't scored very well, has it, on Rotten Tomatoes?
No, it hasn't scored very well. 42% critics, 47% audience. There's a couple of good set pieces, but other than that, it just feels borderline racist, particularly with the way they treat some of the Indian characters within it, of which there are a few. It feels like somebody got an earlier draft for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom as well. There's sort of bits in a market involving James Bond and a man with a knife or a sword and all this kind of stuff. And it just doesn't land very well. Roger Moore's fine. I think the supporting cast is fine. You've got the same Russian general who pops up again, who's been in the last 3 Roger Moore movies, I think. So there's a bit of line of continuity there. But it's not a great plot. It's not got great set pieces. It's not a great film, really, and I think this is probably about where I'd score it as well, between 42 and 47%.
Yeah, I was just looking it up whilst you were talking, just to prompt my memory. And And this was one I always struggled with when I was much younger as a child, because I just didn't really understand what was going on. And it's got the circus in it. It's not great, is it? It was actually nearly as old as me. There you go. Interesting fun fact.
There you go. Also, is a really dire theme tune. I struggle to remember it now, and I watched it last night, so I bet you can't remember what the theme tune for Octopussy is.
No, not a clue. I mean, it's probably quite hard to get Octopussy into any song.
Well, they didn't even bother. It's called An All-Time High is the name of the tune.
It feels like a cop-out on a challenge, doesn't it?
Unlike this film, which might be an all-time low. Next, I have a brief return to Sean Connery. I've got Never Say Never Again before I go back to one more Roger Moore one, so that's exciting.
Never Say Never Again.
Yeah, it's not an official Bond film, Never Say Never Again. It's not an Eon production, unlike the rest of them. Somebody sold the rights off to Thunderball, but more news on that when we do it.
Okay.
I see you got some story about cooking.
I just put Bake Off in because I think we neglected our audience last week to mention Bake Off starts again last week. I missed the first one because I didn't even realise it was on. So I've popped it in. It's on Tuesdays. I haven't seen the first episode yet, but my family and I usually like a bit of Bake Off. So I will watch it. But I just thought we should do our public service announcement for anybody that might have missed it.
I did watch it. I watched it live. I always like Bake Off. It's always a great show. They get the tension a bit right. I will say, I really wish they'd stop doing the sketches at the start, though, because they don't land.
It was really long and it was a bit hammy. And my kids were like, I don't understand. And I was like, well, you've never seen Jurassic Park, so you might not get it.
Yeah, nobody would really understand it. And I guess if we're doing public service announcements, Chris, we should really say that Taskmaster is also back next week.
I did not know that. So, okay, that'll be one for me and the boys to watch. So, yeah, brilliant.
Yep, back next Thursday, 11th September.
Got some good autumnal TV coming.
Yeah. Somebody else who's got some good things coming is Apple. It's the Emmys next week, but they've already won some. Apparently there's so many Emmys that they start giving them away before the show even starts.
Wow.
So, I know, it's a bit crazy. I got to say, the advertising on 9to5 Mac is getting out of hand, and that's me with an ad blocker as well. But
they've got to pay the bills.
Oh, they've got to pay the bills. And this shirt is one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I agree.
Anyway, they have already won. Severance has won for production design, cinematography, title design, music composition, sound mixing. Merritt Weaver won Outstanding Guest Actress in the Drama series for the portrayal of Dylan's wife, Gretchen. The studio looks like it's going to win some stuff for comedy, and there's more things to come. But I just think it's amazing that they're already winning stuff.
That was quite a small part that she had. Fair play. It's good. I'm glad. All the actors were fantastic in Severance, I thought, to be fair.
Yep, I agree. Anything else?
Not really media, no. I did rewatch Gone Girl this week, if you're interested, but I love that film.
It's a decent film. It's all right.
It's messed up, but it's a very good film. I love a David Fincher film.
And I like a bit of a cameo from Neil Patrick Harris as well.
Yeah, he was good.
He's not in it for long, though, is he?
Don't ruin it.
I didn't say anything. I just said he wasn't in it for long.
Yeah. No, it was good.
Most unexpected. It's a good film. No games.
Donkey Kong Bonanza. I am getting through it. Banananza. I can't remember how to pronounce it, but it's good.
Yeah, I haven't gone back to it.
You got to get out of the dirt.
Yeah, you said. Main show?
Yep.
Tell us what Apple's got planned for next week then, Chris.
I am super looking forward to next week because I'm getting a new phone one way or another because my son has already eyed mine and would like a case for it and he hasn't even got it yet. So, because I said I think I will get myself a new phone. So this is Apple's ore-dropping event, which I think we discussed last week was an awful name. I do wonder if they can do something with the thermal camera, though, because obviously the logo that you can see on screen is the Apple logo that looks like a thermal logo. Thermal camera is taking a picture of it. So I'm curious on that. But why don't we just briefly go through the lineup of phones, not just phones, the lineup of hardware. So first we've got the can't get my words out. We've got the iPhone 17 coming up. So apparently the regular iPhone is going to get the bigger screen that came out on the iPhone 16 Pro last year. If you remember, it went from 6.1 inch to 6.3. So we're going to get that. And we're going to get a new chip. Other than that, I don't think this phone is going to be wildly different. It's just going to be a slightly updated version, basically. And the iPhone 16 was a cracking phone. My wife's got one. It's brilliant. So I'd imagine this is pretty good. So if anybody's in the market for the regular phone, this will be a good year to get one. Equally, it might be a good year to get last year's phone. Hopefully a good price because it will probably go end of life or get knocked down in value.
So my thought about this is, if this rumour is true and it's going to come with promotion, that's going to stop a lot. That's going to stop a lot of people going up and buying the Pro phones. Because frankly, at that point, why would you?
I think you might because they're always on screen.
I've got an always on screen. It's not that big a deal.
I love the always on screen. I'm not going back. The always on screen would stop me, I think. But I kind of agree with you. But then a lot of people I know don't know what ProMotion is. You know, a lot of regular purchases. So I think it's going to be a solid phone. I think the phones are so good now that even the basic phone, inverted commas, is a great buy.
Yeah, I mean, as discussed previously, I think that Android phones are better value in this market anyway, because even the baseline ones have 90 hertz screens, which is, again...
And they're probably better spec'd throughout, not just the screen.
Which is table stakes. The A19 chip is really where this is at, and this is interesting to me, I think. After that sort of year where Apple went, okay, we're going to differentiate, we're going to put the last year's phone in the base model iPhone, now we seem to be having that sort of parity where all phones are going to get the A19 chip.
Well, last year, the cheap phone now, though, is the E phone, and there is rumoured to be a 17E coming in the spring. And then in future years, I think we've already touched on it, like the iPhone 18 will come out in the spring as well. So they're going to have a Pro event and a normal event, I guess. So I think this is looking good. So it's what you'd expect. The iPhone 17 is probably going to take 5 minutes for them to introduce. Who knows?
No rumour of a larger one this year. It's just going to be iPhone 17.
I think it's just iPhone 17 because the larger Plus model is being replaced with the iPhone 17 Air, which will be 5.5mm thin or thick, so really skinny. I'm quite excited to see what that's going to look like. It's going to have the A19 chip in it, the same as the iPhone 17. It's only going to have one camera, and I think one camera seems odd to me, but I'm curious to see how they pitch it and what it does. It's going to have potentially less battery life because it's going to be so skinny. Bigger screen though, 6.6-inch screen, so it's like the plus size phone. It's going to have ProMotion. eSIM only, which I think kind of makes sense. They've got to start getting eSIM only out into the wider world, so I'm all right with that. But Rod's shaking his head for our listeners because you're not an eSIM person, but I've actually put everybody onto eSIMs that I can. I'm done with it. And it's been fine. It's generally been fine. It's going to have an Apple C1 modem, which I'm curious to see because the C1 modem's in the 16E, and since it's come out, there have been zero reports of any issues with it, which, to be fair, I think is quite impressive. So I'm curious to what that's like and whether that will aid battery life at all.
You want my take on this without having seen the device?
I do. I think my concern here is what the Air won't do. That's my concern, like what's missing.
Right. Well, there's a SIM card chip missing for a start.
I'm all right with that.
All right, I'll come with that. So the current iPhone 16 is 7.8mm thick. So this is decently thinner than that. You know, that's fair enough. If what you've been looking for in your life is a super thin phone, then this is obviously going to get there. Same chip as the other phone. I think a single camera is a problem. People are now used to having more than one camera.
I completely agree, and I think that is a bit of a misstep. I think the pros have reached a point, and you'll see this in the video on Tuesday, where a lot of the stuff they're talking about in a Pro phone is not for me anymore. I want some good cameras that take great stills. I don't need any of that video stuff. I don't need any of that selfie stuff because I just don't use it. What I want is a really good couple of cameras out the back. I do want to be able to do macros. Occasionally take wide angle. May want to zoom. But I largely use the main camera for the majority of my photos. But I think the Air's missing. I think they've got it slightly wrong. They're going to sell the Air at more money than the regular 17, but the regular 17 gets 2 cameras.
Yeah, and lots of other things as well, presumably. The biggest problem for this, apart from the eSIM, is the reduced battery life. We haven't seen what iOS 26 is going to be like out of the beta format. Maybe it's already a battery hog. So if it gets a little bit better than wasn't to be great, but if it's absolutely smashing the chips away on a phone that already has a smaller size battery, that could be fundamentally disappointing for people.
Yeah, I agree with you here. Unless they're doing something crazy battery tech, and this is really like the future of what the phones are going to be like in a year's time. You know, when the 18s come out, they're going to use some of the manufacturing processes or the battery tech. I don't know. But or the modem, maybe that's going to help massively with the battery. I'm curious to see what Apple are going to pitch that number at.
So there is, I'll get this wrong, but it's silicon carbon or silicon carbide, I forget what it is, which gives you higher density batteries, at the same sort of size. So and Huawei and OnePlus have had batteries of those this year, which have been like 5,800 milliamp hour batteries in the frame of a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, something like that. So this is a possibility. I don't know if Apple are that sort of forward thinking to have that yet, though.
Or is the tech just too new? They're probably going to be a bit cautious because they're going to sell so many of these things.
So I think this is a concern. 6.6-inch display is bigger, obviously. Bigger displays use more battery. So, eSIM replacing physical SIM. I don't think it's all you're cracking it up to be. That most UK carriers don't automatically support this.
I agree with you there. I mean, I'm on the main carrier. It's a non-event for me, but for you, it'd be a nightmare.
For me, it would be a nightmare, and I'm to be sold on the benefits. If I break my phone now, I can whip the SIM card out and I can stick it in another phone, and it will just work with no waiting, no messing around, no transferring, no problems. How often does a SIM card break?
I don't know, not very often. What gets me is sometimes it's like DAB radio. It should be way better than analog, but half the time you don't get a signal or you get interrupted. Like, how is it worse? And I kind of agree with you. The only thing I think is better with eSIM is that they should use that space that the SIM tray takes up for something else. And it should be better. I should just be able to log on to EE and easily click a button to get my eSIM downloaded and install it. But they make it hard, and I don't get why it's hard.
So I think the only people that win from this are the phone carriers, because once they've got you, the inability to just stick your number in another phone and merrily dance off, it just increases friction down the line. And that's my concern about eSIM. For all I like it when I travel, that I can just, without having to go and buy something, I can go to Airolo and I can do it. I'm not 100% sold on it as a technology because it's too sticky. There's too much friction to moving between devices. I agree with you. If I want to use this Android phone on my desk, I should be able to generate a QR code on my iPhone now, scan it with the Android phone, and that's the eSIM transferred. Or log into my carrier, show me a QR code, and that's the eSIM transferred. It should be as easy as that with no barriers. And there are many, many barriers.
Yeah, and it's taken them a long time to, it's like the third year of asking to try and push it out there. It should be easier.
Yep. So it's fine for America, but I think the rest of the world, and you think the UK isn't, well, we are a first world country, but we're behind on this. And I suspect India, Brazil, China, pick your country of choice, are far further behind with this. And that's going to limit the market of this device.
Agreed.
iPhone 17 Pro, tell us about it.
So I think this is probably the phone. In reality, I'm going to end up, but I'll be annoyed because I think it's going to be heavier than probably what I've got, and it's going to have more tech in it than I need because I just won't use it. So it's going to have the new look that we've seen and discussed, where you've got the big band across the top, which base they've lifted off of Google. It's going to have a 48 megapixel telephoto lens, which I think is awesome. So this is good news, up from 12 meg, so great. Apparently all the lenses on the back end will be 48 megapixels, but we need to see that. It's going to have a new variable aperture system, which we've got a link for that, more details in a minute. You're going to be able to record front and back cameras at the same time. I don't need this, but apparently that's going to be there. It's going to have a new 2/3 rear cutout for wireless charging, so apparently you're going to be able to do it potentially, back and forth wireless charging, where you could charge your AirPods off the back of it. It sounds quite cool. Game probably is not something I would use, but it sounds good. It's going to have the A19 Pro chip, so a slightly better chip. It's going to have increased battery life, aluminium frame, a new orange colour. If this is a good orange, I'll be there for it. I'll be excited by that. So I think this sounds good. We've also heard it might have a vapor chamber in it, so for cooling, which sounds good. Anything to make it cooler would be good because the phones do get hot. It may even record 8K. We've seen rumours of that. So it's going to be super interesting to see what actually comes. I wanted the Air to be my phone, but I fear it's not going to be. What do you think?
I'm probably not going to buy a phone this year. I don't think I'm gonna wait and see and wait for this design to shake out a bit.
Are you on 15 or 16? I can't remember.
I'm 15.
Same as me.
15 Pro Max. I'm on. I just want to. Oh, I've messed it up. I just want to show up on the screen. I went D-Brands, which is a case manufacturer, skin manufacturer site today. And the very first thing on their website is an advert for the iPhone 17 series. Skins, cases, and screen protectors available now, and the button to buy one says "Sorry Tim" on it, which I enjoy no end, frankly. So there you go. The case manufacturers already have this up there.
How are they allowed to do that? Surely, what?
I just thought you'd like that, Chris, just to throw that.
Do you know what though? That screen's quite good though, because you can see all the 17 range of phones there. The 17 Pro just they look weird with the elongated, whatever you call that. I don't know.
What's the only normal looking phone here?
I like the 17. I think the 16, when you take it out of the case, looks stunning. They've done a really good job with it.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I think the 17 is actually the best looking phone in this range from the back.
Agreed. It looks great. It's very simple, very Apple, very simple design. It's the truest phone to itself.
The Pro Max and the Pro look unbalanced to me. I mean, they've always looked a bit unbalanced with the camera maze off to one side, but shoving the flash and the LiDAR sensor over to the right-hand side of this, it's like a half-hearted attempt to do what Google do with their sort of, command bar thing across the back of the phone.
Yeah, it feels like, I wonder if this is a step and it'll make sense next year because there's some more shoes to drop, but it just looks weird.
Again, I've said it before, if they separate these lenses so it's more for the Apple Vision Pro to give you that sort of spatial recording, whatever it's called, that they do for that's fine. How dreadful does the iPhone 17 Air look with one lens and the LiDAR sensor on the other side, or flash, whatever it
like
is?
The cheap phone.
It really does, and it won't be a cheap phone.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting to see how they pitch it all, but I don't know, maybe there's some logic there.
I look at this list and I think this is same old for a slight step forward, isn't it? We've got a slightly better chip, we've got a slightly better camera, we've got a slightly different colour, we've got a slightly better battery life, and we've got a different material this year. We've gone away from titanium to aluminium.
Unless there's something we're missing. It's weird we're going back to aluminium though.
It cools better, doesn't it? Titanium retains heat longer.
Yeah, maybe that's my phone getting hot in my pocket. So I want to know how they're going to pitch it.
I mean, it is interesting, and I don't know. I think it might be my mindset this year. I'm off the cynicism train, or I'm on the cynicism train slightly. I think all the other stuff Apple's done to us this year is just sort of loading in my head, so I'm struggling to get as excited about this as I usually would. It's an evolution. I don't think any of this is a revolution.
I completely agree. I like I say, I want to see how they pitch it. I want to see what they look like in real life. I mean, Apple, for trying to stop leaks, has done the worst job this year than ever.
They're getting almost as bad as Google for doing the leaks. Let's move on quickly, or we're going to go along. Apple Watch Ultra 3, bigger display to match Series 10, S11 chip. I don't know what red cap cellular is, but
I think it just means it's going to have cellular in it, which about time.
We knew that, and satellite connectivity, fine. I mean, that sounds like this sounds like the watch we should have had last year.
Yeah, they did the Ultra 1, and it was great, and then they've not really followed up. This feels like the follow-up.
They flubbed it. Series 11, new screen with increased brightness. Right. Okay. Well, that's deeply dull.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not in the watch market, so none of these are for me. I would put my money towards an analog watch. And
how dare you say band offerings? Of course, there's going to be band offerings. That's where they make all their money. They sell them quite cheap.
They've got no bullet points to put under the Watch 11, have they?
I mean, I'll be interested to see how Apple turn this into a 15-minute segment or whatever it is they're going to do on the watch.
If anybody's going to.
Oh, well, they will, but where's the revolutionary bit of software? Because they haven't talked about that. Where's the sensor, Apple? Where's the thing that's making this a new compelling thing for somebody who still wears an Apple Watch but begins to question it from time to time? To get me to buy one of these things, because I'm not seeing it.
The Apple Watch, which really hasn't... The Ultra was cool, but nothing's really moved on for years. It's really disappointing.
No. The SE I'm not even going to talk about because it's so boring. And apparently we're going to get AirPods 3, which are probably the most...
Pro 3.
Yeah, which are probably the most interesting product here, frankly, because I think the AirPods Pro 2 have been a terrific set of headphones that I've used almost every day since I bought them.
I probably would, but I struggle with my ears a little bit, so I've actually moved to bone conduction. I'd love Apple to make a pair of bone conduction headphones. I think the AirPods Pros are absolutely insanely good headphones. When they're on sale at like £180 here in the UK, that's a lot of headphone for the money if you think you're going to wear them nearly every day. I think they're amazing.
Yeah, so there we go. That's the event. I think we've probably touched on all the things. Maybe we'll have a one more thing, but we don't really get them anymore, do we?
There's talk of the Air being the one more thing. But the problem is, one more thing works when you've got a surprise.
Yeah. Hello, there's a case for it here.
It's absolutely dumb.
So there we go. Anyway, event on Tuesday. We're not going to cover it. We're going to cover it next week, unfortunately. So apologies to listeners and viewers that we're not doing it immediately after the event. But we'll do it as soon as we can next weekend.
Yeah, that's all my fault. I apologise.
App of the week.
Do it.
App of the week this week is hopefully going to save our audio because Chris and I have no faith in how well this has gone with this recording. Audacity, I have to use it every week to either make Chris louder or myself a bit quieter. It's generally the way that it goes. It has fantastic filters. Basically, you can use it to record the audio on your computer, but you dig a little bit deeper than that. It's an editing app. It's audio soap. You can do all sorts of things with it. If you've got lots of background noise and hum, it can analyze the spaces in between where you're talking and remove that. It can make things louder. It can add reverb. And like I say, it's an editor as well. It's open source, most crucially of all. It's just a terrific piece of software that I use every week, literally.
Yeah, it's a cool app, and we used it when we started out, and it was free. I think the version we were using because it's not for commercial gain. What fantastic bit of software.
Thing of the week.
I've done something different this week. I've actually gone for the Monza circuit. I watched the Formula One today. And I love this circuit. Sadly, I couldn't devote all my time to the Formula One because I was cooking at the same time. But I love this circuit. I play it on the PlayStation with my son. I've raced various cars around it of different genres. I just think it's a cool circuit because you go really fast in it, and then the chicane gets you or the corners get you. I think it's cool, and I thought I'd do something different for Thing of the Week. But I love it. I'd like to see more races there, and it's great. And especially when you watch the F1, because the Ferrari fans are very committed to Ferrari, and obviously this is their home circuit. So there you go. That's my Thing of the Week.
Now, I feel like I've driven past the Monza circuit. Is it near Milan?
Oh, I have no idea where it is.
I'm going to have a little Google here. I should have done this before.
And I apologise for my lack of knowledge of knowing where it is. But
you recommended the yeah, so it's north of Milan. So I've driven past the circuit actually in real life because I've been to Milan 5 times now, and headed up in this direction, and you see it on the sat nav of the taxi driver or whoever's taking you there. You see Monza, Autodromo Nazionale Monza as you go past it. And as I butcher that in my very bad accent, I apologise. I think I did all right. Yeah, it's historic. MotoGP used to go there too. I think the World Superbikes used to go there too. It was the Italian circuit before they moved to other locations in Italy, certainly for the bikes. But yeah, I get the history behind it. It's the place to be if you're that kind of fan.
I just think it's a cool set. I love it. I think it's cool. And like I said, I like driving it. I like watching a race there. It's a quick race. It was like an hour and 20 minutes for an F1 race, which was pretty good.
I think my favourite circuit is probably Assen. I think it's the most historic circuit as far as I'm concerned.
My shortlist was Monza, Spa, Silverstone, and the Red Bull Ring. They're the 4 I like.
Oh, Red Bull Ring is a deeply dull track.
Oh, to drive, I love drive. I think because I've played it so much on.
This is a Gran Turismo thing. This isn't.
I love it, and then I've watched the F1 there.
Yeah, but it doesn't make exciting racing, does it? There's not a lot. Certainly on the bikes, there's not a lot of overtaking at Red Bull Ring.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just like driving it, I think, on the PlayStation. Got a lot of good memories.
There's more interesting circuits to watch motorsport at, and I would say Assen is probably the most, and maybe Phillip Island in Melbourne would be my second choice.
Yeah, that's not an F1 one.
Yeah, well, other tracks exist, Chris.
other racing events exist, I think you mean.
I think we can call that a show.
Yeah, I think so. So if anyone wants to get in contact with us, Rod is at g5maniac at mastodon.scot. He's also on Blue Skyways at g5maniac.bsky.social. I am on Mastodon. I am at _CGP at mastodon.social. You can watch on YouTube by going to our website and clicking on the link, or you can drop us an email at wakefromsleep@protonmail.com.
Talk to you next week, Chris.
Cheers, Rod.